Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on in. You might know this gentleman's face. You might not. It is the one and the only Mr. Thomas Peterson, part of the Bell and the Bird crew, as we march forward and finally get some film work done as we try to. I think we should at least do this every other week, every day, as Thomas points out. Absolutely. I'm down for that. But the first question in our Bell and the Birdman film room with Thomas is I've been asking, well, who is Nick Sirianni? You've probably been asking that too. Yes, it's probably a 2 season long question at this point
right now, maybe
the top 5 question for sure. And specifically, like, why isn't Miles Sanders being used properly? Is it the keys? Is it scheme? Is it the player? So that's why Thomas is here to at least solve this question today, as they hopefully see some more running game against the Panthers. But that's probably a question for another time and another place. Thomas, first and foremost, how you doing, man? Thanks for joining us.
I'm doing excellent, and thank you. It's about time we get set this up here, and we wanted to wait till we actually get some gains here and not overreact to only 1 or 2 games.
Not that we do that.
I think not that we do that. We would never do that, and we don't ever see that happen, right? We're always sane around here.
Yes.
But now we got 4 games. We can actually see some trends with the offense and see, who is Nick Sirianni. We know that the defense is very, very simple. We've all seen that by now. But what about the offense actually, and how is Nick Sirianni as a play caller?
Well, let's go to that, because one of the main questions I've been asking is just like, why hasn't Miles Sanders been as effective? Is this more of a run-pass-run option, right, as opposed to an RPO? And I think we get a lot of answers over the last 4 weeks, especially after you are breaking this down for us. So take us to Atlanta here, and what do we see kind of first and foremost in these sequences you're going to show us?
Right. So like you said, the big question is about Miles Sanders and how is the running game being used? Why aren't we seeing more carries for the runs for the running backs? And really, what it comes down to, a major part of it is that Nick Sirianni, when he's running the ball, he really wants to have reads. And so we saw against Atlanta here, the first play is just going to be is a basic zone read here. So for the offensive line, they're just going to block this as if it is zone to the left side. And the cool little wrinkle he brings to it here is going to make it look like it's split zone, where the tight end is going to block to the opposite side of where the running back is going. So if he's going left here, you're going to have the tight end take away the defensive end to that side. But the cool little wrinkle to this play is that you actually get Dallas Goedert out here as a lead blocker for Jalen Hurts if he was to keep the ball here to himself. And so when you run the play, we're going to see that 45 will be the guy he's keying on, because Lane Johnson is going to take the defensive end inside. So 45 will be the new contain guy. And 45 is just going to shoot inwards here for Miles Sanders. Jalen Hurts is going to keep the ball himself, and he has the lead blocker out there in Dallas Goedert. Everything is set up perfectly here, and it's a good read from Jalen Hurts. We'll see it here as well. 55 goes inside. Lane Johnson takes on him. 45 becomes the new contain guy. He goes inside. Jalen Hurts carries the ball himself with the lead blocker out there to the outside. So
executed beautifully, as you said.
Executed
That's nice.
Beautifully, and not a stat for Miles Sanders, but the presence of him, and it's basically why the defensive end comes crashing in at that play, and that's what makes that play.
I love that. What are we going to see next here?
So the next play is more just just a basic zone where you're going to let the defensive end go, and you're not going to have that split zone element to it. And once again, we're just going to have everyone. This time, we're just going to zone block up to the right side. Same element here, and let's just run through that one. This time, we're keying on 55 here to the outside. He's going to sprint in there with Miles Sanders. He doesn't get the carry. It's a good read, because if you were to give this ball to Miles Sanders, it's a poor play. He gets tackled in the backfield. You're going to get negative yards. And what we're going to talk about afterwards in the game is that, why is Miles Sanders bad right now? So just another example of the basic zone read working, but also Nick Sirianni putting in a very simple twist to it, where it looks like a split zone, but with a lead blocker.
I love that. Yeah, and it's odd because I don't think it's been executed that well since Atlanta, and maybe I'm wrong on that. But what do you have against San Francisco here?
So against San Francisco, we saw some of the same looks from the offensive line. This is the exact same play here. Just to reiterate that this is a play they want to come back to every week. This is just a basic. This is the basic zone read. Nick Bosa is going to come up here and he's going to stall with Jalen Hurts on this play. So here, this is the look you're getting from when you want to give the ball to the running back. So then you're going to have the defense.
Bosa's in like perfect dance maneuvering right here. Wouldn't you agree? He's nice and balanced. Right to do the electric boogaloo.
He can break into breakdance. He can go. I mean, he can go all the way with this athlete. That's the principle of this play here. This is the look you get when you want to give it off to a running back. You do that, you get 6 yards with Kenny Gainwell this time. But also one of the things that you want to make sure when you're running this play, when you're running these types of plays where it's read for the quarterback, is that your quarterback is in a rhythm and that he's making the right reads. Because of course, if he makes the wrong read, then you're screwed a little bit. And we saw that as well with in the 49ers game. So in this play here as well, we got zone for the entire offensive line. And the wrinkle to this one I want to highlight is Lane Johnson and Landon Dickerson are going to work in combination on the 3-tech defensive tackle. We call it 3-tech because he's splitting the guard and the tackle. 1-tech is right in there. And they're going to work in combination here. So if the defensive tackle is going inside, Lane Johnson is going up for the linebacker. And if he's going outside, or if he remains right here in the 3 technique, then Landon Dickerson goes up for the linebacker. Just keep that in mind when we're running this play. Because as we're going here, once again, we see the defensive end in that perfect breakdance position here, that dance position. He is keying all the way on Hurts. So the easy read, what do we do here? We're going to hand off to the running back, because if we do that right there in the A gap, we're going to have Landon Dickerson transition up beautifully to Fred Warner, who's even going to go outside. And Jason Kelce's doing Jason Kelce things, taking on his guy. And right there you have highway.
Yep.
But the result of the play is only 3 yards because Jalen takes it to the outside, and Fred Warner is in a perfect track position to take him down.
I will say, just as a bonus, for Jalen Hurts to be able to outrun and outswoop Bosa is a great thing. But to your point, bad read there. That's a big highway. Yeah.
And that's one of the risks that you're running, or risk you're putting extra weight on the shoulder of your quarterback. So if you're thinking of the quarterback already has so much in his mind, he has to execute in the passing game and reading coverages, delivering the right pass, seeing the field. And then if you add the element of the running game that in those plays as well, you're not taking plays off. You have to make the right read. Otherwise, you're giving the advantage to the defense. And I think Brandon Staley of the Chargers, he made a good point when he talked after the game. I don't know if everybody saw that interview, but basically what he said is that the running game gives a little bit of a breather to the quarterback, and it puts physicality on the defense, so they have to defeat blocks. And when you're doing this, of course, you're also running the ball, so they have to play the blocks, but you're not giving that breather to a quarterback. And not to get ahead of ourselves here, but in the Cowboys game, you could see that Jalen Hurts was all over the place. Prime time in Dallas, trailing, had to make every right decision, and he was just not in the flow of the game. And in those situations, you might want to reconsider a little bit. All right, should we keep running the read plays where we're putting all the weight on our quarterback, or should we just run, straight up basic run plays, hand it off to the running back, let him get some yards, take a breather on your quarterback? But that's another discussion.
And I wonder if that's it, because do you think both of these things end up aligning where hey, let's take a decision away from Jalen Hurts and give him a breather. Let's also let Miles get him going and put him under center. I think they've done that a few times past this Dallas game. They might have even done it against the Chiefs. But I guess when you're trying to make these decisions in your mind, I'll make you Nick Sirianni here. What's the gain of not going RPO? Because now you're taking away a big part of Jalen Hurts' game at this point, and I still think he's a better passer than a lot of people give him credit for, but understand that there's issues going on. And then you're probably also, outside of not handing off to Kenny Gainwell there, more than likely going to have 6 or 7 yards in front of you to take with your legs, and about another 11 or an opportunity to take 11 or 20 to go for a throw. So at what point is there a good balance for Miles Sanders to get in there and for Jalen Hurts to take a breather? Has that been seen in the last 4 weeks here?
Yeah, I think just going back to the point I made, it really depends on the flow of your quarterback and how well he is executing the offense. And I think we have two very good examples of that. We have the Cowboys game and we have the Chiefs game.
Perfect. Let's roll on the Cowboys
plan,
here. Yeah.
right. So the game plan, and we're going to get into this clip here, but just the philosophy of it in the Cowboys and the Chiefs game, the philosophy was kind of the same, and they did the same things. The difference is in the Chiefs game, Hurts executed it very well. Over 90% of the plays, he made the right read in the RPOs and in the run reads. And that just kept the offense going. That kept the flow of the offense going. And at that point, you don't want to take away that from Hurts because, like you just said, then you're putting him in the position where he can use his athleticism and his legs to create, big plays because that's what he's capable of. But in the Cowboys game, you're also putting the pressure on him so much that if you're on the sidelines and you see, all right, he's not making the right reads, the read game isn't working here. Let's just give it to Miles Sanders and let Hurts get a breather, because if it isn't working in the passing game, we shouldn't put extra pressure on him in the running game as well. So I think it really depends on the flow of the game, and that is when you as a coach have to get a feel for where your team is in the game, because I don't think you can't predict those things going into the week.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. So that makes a lot of sense in terms of like why there's been some disconnection between getting these guys going and seeing like Kenny Gainwell flash. And certainly we talked about that with Adam Lefkoe on the podcast, and highly recommend you go listen to that as well. So what is obviously an example of what not to do in this one here, Thomas?
What not to do if you are the offensive line and you want to help out your quarterback. So this is another wrinkle of the run read game here. So here we're going to have, once again, it's a zone option for these three guys here to the right side. These three guys are going to be zone blocking. So, and then we have the QB power option here to the outside, where we're going to have Landon Dickerson and Lane Johnson will be pulling to the other side. And the key is Randy Gregory on the outside here. Let's just get all this ink away. And when we're running this, you have two options. You have the sort of like the sweep option. So if Randy is just going to shoot inside, you give it off to Miles Sanders, and he's in a race with Leighton Vander Esch to the outside. Now he is going to stall with Miles Sanders. So then you're going to follow the block. So this is the right read from Jalen Hurts. The problem with this rep is that your pulling guard is tripping. Let's just get back to the Cowboys clip. Landon Dickerson trips over Andre Diller's foot.
Oops.
And it becomes a super odd block on Micah Parsons, who suddenly looks like a superhero. If he makes that block, if he kicks out Micah Parsons, you have Lane Johnson coming out here in open field against the Leighton Vander Esch, who bit on the play action to begin with, and a safety coming down there. So you would have had a major play at that point. That is a very good setup. You have the sweep option, you have the QB power option. The QB power is there, but your offensive line don't make the block. So those are those little things that we also don't see in the stat sheet, because Miles takes away the defensive end, Hurts makes the right read, but that one block messes up what I think is a very good call.
Oh yeah, and a momentum changer too, because that's still first quarter, right?
That's third quarter.
Oh, third quarter.
It's a third down play, and then afterwards we have the fourth down where he misses Devontae Smith coming across the middle on the cover one afterwards. So that took away all the momentum, and Cowboys go up. They're up in that game, and it just took off from there.
And then here against Kansas City, another staple of kind of what you're explaining here, and this time it's
this
like you see the design here of what you were talking about before, and this is where like the first time it actually I think flows beautifully.
Exactly. This is where you get what you want. So you have the same thing here. You have the sweep option to the outside with three lead blockers from the receiver, and you're keying on the defensive end out there. So he comes out, he stays with the running back. Jalen Hurts makes the right read here of keeping the ball to himself. You have the exact same thing up front. You have the zone blocking from the three guys to the right side, and you have two guys pulling here. Landon Dickerson this time, beautiful kick-out block on the defensive end. And then you have the lead blocker out here, Andre Dillard. We can argue the quality of his block. Actually, it's pretty fine. And then you get six, 7 easy yards there by making one right read and the block by the poster there. So here we see it once again in the up close. We have these three guys zone blocking, two pullers. Ink falls away. Hey, come up there.
Oh, did he bite? Oh man, did that DN bite hard. Woo! Like that a lot. Here's my next question out of that, because they're in the red zone there. Why aren't they doing that within the 10, within the 5? I mean, we clearly see that, like, okay, you're not going to get. I mean, I don't know if anybody really is clamoring for Jordan Howard, nor do I think he was a power back that everybody wants to begin with in the first place. But why aren't you doing more of that within the 10 if you don't have a power running game and Jack Stoll isn't that great of a fullback or whatever it is? Why do you think that is?
I mean, the run read works when you have one guy you key on. And like you see, if the defensive end crashes inside and the quarterback is wide open, then that is what makes the play. When you get closer to the end zone, the safeties also come further up the field. And so even though the defensive end is disappearing, because your entire offensive line is shifting to one side. And then if the defensive end removes, then the quarterback is alone to that side. He has to run the ball himself. And the safeties, who, if they're closer to the line of scrimmage, which they are in the red zone, then you have a risk of them being in a better position to track down the quarterback. That is a risk, but of course you can run it, especially if you have an athletic quarterback who can make a guy miss in one-on-one in open space. But you're making a calculated risk at that point that your quarterback is probably going to go up against a DB in a one-on-one situation. But it's possible.
So what are we now? We've got back to the Cowboys.
Back to the Cowboys, and now we're going away from the run read options, and we're going to the RP options or RPO plays. So this is the RPO play that I've been seeing the most from the Eagles. This is where you have a zone blocking scheme from the offensive line, and you have a sit across the middle with the outside wide receiver, and you have a guy going flat here. The read for Jalen Hurts is the nickel cornerback and the outside cornerback. The first read he makes here is this guy. Who is he going to travel with? Is he going to go with the flat guy? If he goes flat, you throw it right in between in underneath him. If he's going to key on the outside guy as he is coming in, then you throw this one. You have him either in a one-on-one situation, or this guy, like the perfect situation is this guy bails, and then you have a ton of room down there. So here you get the situation with you keying on the nickel cornerback. He goes with the flat guy, and in this case, the outside cornerback or safety, I think we can safely call this guy. He is backed off away from Devontae Smith, because that is the when you want to run the ball. Is if both of these guys are playing man. Let's assume this guy was standing right here, and he is playing man up on Devontae Smith, and you have a guy traveling with the flat guy, then you want to give the ball off to your running back.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But right here, you have enough of a crease to get the ball in there for Devontae Smith, and this is a very good throw by Jalen Hurts, because what it demands of the quarterback here is he has to make a very quick decision, and he needs to make a quick read of what the nickel cornerback is doing. And then he also the release has to be on point, because otherwise, the deep defender, if he closes in on that, Devontae Smith is going to get killed. So, quick decision there, good release. I think Hurts executed this scheme, or this RPO scheme, brilliantly. And then we see it on the other situation here against the Chiefs, where you have, once again, you're keying on the nickel guy. So here, keying on this guy, he's going to stay here. He's going to stay within the middle. So basically what he's doing, he's sort of taking away Devontae Smith as he's coming over the middle. So that is leaving the flat guy open. Like we talked about, 21 here, he's bailing. He's not going to go up to the line of scrimmage immediately. Throw it out there to the flat. Quez Watkins, one-on-one with the guy. That's a first down every time.
This might be a dumb question, and I had to get another set of eyes on here because it's very important that we get this correct. Is that a version of mesh out of RPO that they're kind of running there? Like, and there's always like a swing. There's always a person in the middle. There's always
it's more a combination of spacing. Where you have one guy going flat and have one guy coming over the middle.
Excellent. Yeah, and that's something we have seen a lot of the time. And the other thing in that clip, and you're seeing it as Thomas is going to set it up here too, is a lot of this success in the passing game and this balance to get people to back off here. Did they start having to, I mean, against Dallas, they didn't respect it at any point of the game. You've got to hit a lot of deep shots, and even the Chiefs didn't even really care once you started doing that as well. So what is it going to take, I guess, for this 8.5, I'll say, in the box to back off a little bit here? Is it simply hitting some of these deep shots for touchdowns?
Hitting some of the deep guns for touchdowns, but also when you're coming out in these RPO sets, the Eagles have decided that they're gonna have everything set up. Everything is set up closely here, so you're almost asking for a loaded box when you're coming in here with two wings and a tight set with your receivers, because everything is just going to be gathered in the middle there. So you want to space out things from there, and that is the point of putting everything in here. Is you want these. This is not the play I'm running, but if you're getting your guys out there in the flat, then you're dictating how the defense are going to expand instead of having them expand it and then go from there. That makes sense?
That makes complete sense.
All right. Perfect. So,
no, yeah, I didn't have any questions. You explained it really well.
All right. So I think the next play we're going to go with here is a penalty play. We have seen too many of these illegal man downfield. Would you agree?
Oh, illegal everything, and yes, especially when it comes to Andre Dillard. I think he's been pegged for 3. Is that right so far with the illegal man downfield? So there you go.
And the perfect lead up into the play here, John. Almost read my mind, because sometimes it isn't sometimes it's the fault of the offensive lineman, and sometimes it's the fault of the quarterback. And when we're in game and we're watching it, then they call out legal man downfield number 77. We go, God damn it, Andre Dillard. And sometimes we go back to the tape and we see, what actually happens. Against the Chiefs, I'll say I don't have that clip, but against the Chiefs, that was Andre Dillard. That was not Jalen Hurts. So here we have another wrinkle of the RPO, which is set up here. This is going to look like a split zone. I'm going to draw that up. So we're going to have Dallas Goedert coming out here from the backfield. So once again, you're making the split zone, look, and you're adding that little twist to it with the tight end coming across. So what we're doing here instead, and the other play we had the flat option and we had the sit over the middle. This time we have 2 different flat options. We have Quez Watkins coming out here, and we have Dallas Goedert coming in here. This is what the guy we're keying on is 26. And also if they're playing man. If they're playing man, we're giving it off to the running back, because we're probably gonna have one of the linebackers disappear. Maybe Jalen Smith who disappears with the tight end.
He literally did the next week. He's not on the team anymore.
Hey, right. And we would have the cornerback go and play man with Quez, and then that would lighten the box and we run it. That is the other option. If they're playing man and they're tight, we run it. Basically, it's the same rule in the other RPO. If they're playing man and they're tight, you run it. If you have space, you go with the pass. And here you have space, and you're keying on that nickel guy here to make a decision on whether he wants to go with Goedert. Then you loop it over to Quez. If he's going to Quez, you just delivered a fastball to Dallas Goedert. But the only thing you have to do is get rid of the ball immediately, because the offensive line have zero idea if you kept the ball, if you're running the ball. They can't see if it's man, or they don't care about that. You're just going to block this as if it's man.
They see red and they go. Yep.
They see red and they go. The only thing you can't do is hold on to the ball. And I get the idea from Hurts. It's very tempting, because you have a guy releasing up there in the flat, and there's really nobody up there. There's no safety help. Can't do it. You're setting your offensive line up for failure. Even look at that. They could have called this in Jason Kelce. I mean, he's way downfield too. So that is the only key on that. See, when you're looking at here, who's going to tell if Dallas Goedert is coming out there to block, or is coming out there to pass?
Yep.
I like this RPO. I like the different sets of RPOs that they've been putting together here, and that Sirianni has been making. And I think it Hurts for the most part has been executing it well. I just had to take a play where you can see it. It's not always on the offensive line, because they have their rules to run by.
Yeah, I think that's a great first step in trying to, for my eyes and for Cora's eyes and for everybody out there that's been trying to just understand, like, where's the mistakes that are really hurting this running game, and is the RPO affecting Miles Sanders? And so far, I mean, just through 4 weeks, I would say it's a combination of everything that everyone's been saying. Hurts has missed a few. There's a lot on his plate. There's a lot of keys to kind of read there. He's probably done that to Miles a couple of times. He's done that to Kenny Gainwell. I'm sure that's mixed in there somewhere.
Exactly.
is this just a matter of time? Everyone keeps saying that. I keep saying that. This offense looks explosive. I think what Nick
right?
what you've shown me in terms of design, Nick Sirianni doesn't look like an idiot. Neither does Shane Steichen at this point either. I think these are all very well-designed plays with
Jalen
obvious
Hurts has
keys.
a lot on his plate, has a lot on his plate that he has to execute. So that's a third thing. That's the third guy you have.
Certainly, and it gives me honestly a lot of optimism when you sit here and show me this stuff, because a lot of this is throughout these games. San Francisco especially, winnable game. Kansas City, very winnable game. It's just outside of their experience, their hands, maybe their youth, and mainly it's quarterback and coach at the end of the day that still need to figure out best strengths to get this running game going, because that is, I'm never in disagreement of it. I'm still not a very run heavy guy, but you've got to be able to do something. You got to be able to break the backs of defenses, even when they're sitting in different types of boxes. When you want them to wide out or shorten up or do whatever, offense has to start manipulating the defense, and we haven't seen that through 4 weeks.
And also, these guys have to get to know each other. I mean, Nick Sirianni has to get to know Jalen Hurts, has to get a feel for how he is when he's playing the game, read him a little bit. When is he uncomfortable? Dallas game. When is he very comfortable? Chiefs game. And adjust the game plan to that. That is also, an element of just getting to know each other and getting to know the offense. And like, he's putting a lot out there for Jalen Hurts to execute. One thing is, like, we're just going through some of the read plays with the run reads and the RPO plays. And then you have all the other stuff that comes in every single week, and they have plays that they go back to every week, but they also throw in new stuff depending on the team they've been playing against. One week they're going a bunch of sail. One week they're going a bunch of flood concepts. Another week they're going comebacks and sitting out. They're going so many different things, and that is just another element for Jalen Hurts. So to have some of these RPO different plays here as a recurring option for Hurts to go to and for Nick Sirianni to go through, they're just going to get more and more comfortable with it, and they can make a new game plan and go back to these things here when the situation dictates it. And I think that is an underrated element moving forward when they get to know each other and gel together.
Absolutely. And as we get to know Thomas a little better, we get to know Cora a little better, I think we might understand Nick Sirianni and just how much ahead Jalen Hurts has in front of him as the season continues, because ultimately that's still the question we're all trying to figure out. Is Nick Sirianni the guy? Can Jalen Hurts stay off 3 first-round picks and probably an interesting quarterback market? It's going to be one hell of a rest of the year, no matter the win total. Thomas, we appreciate it, man, and thanks for joining us for our first film room session. I hope there's plenty more.
I enjoyed it. Let's do this soon again.
Absolutely, man.